Hey everybody, NecroVMX here, and this video is serving as a addendum to the Look at the Nintendo Consoles feature. We're just going to take a look at all the different media that's been used by Nintendo over the years and just compare it to each other and just show you them all at once so you can just see them all at once. Let's start with the handheld stuff. Well, here's a typical Game Boy game. This is a Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, and you can see the simple design there. Kind of similar to the NES cartridge, just smaller. Just put that up there. Okay, I'm going to have them all out so you can see them all. Okay, now here is a Super Game Boy game. This is for special use in the Super Game Boy. Of course, it'll also work in a regular Game Boy and such. Really no difference in design. It has that little Super Game Boy logo on the sticker. So we'll just put that over there. Okay, now next we have a Game Boy Color game. Oh, that was the Page Master, by the way. This is a Game Boy Color game. This is Dragon Warrior 1 and 2, or Dragon Quest 1 and 2, depending on who you ask. As you can see, it looks almost exactly like a Game Boy game, except it's black, and that's how you can tell it's a Game Boy Color game, and will also actually work in the Game Boy. So this is a Game Boy Color game that you can play in the Game Boy, and you can tell because it's black. So put that over there. Now here's an example of a Game Boy game, Dragon Quest 3 or Dragon Warrior 3, Game Boy Color game that will not play in the original Game Boy, and you can tell because it's clear, and it has this protruding logo right there that will stop you from putting it in the Game Boy. Alright, so that's a Game Boy Color game. We're going to put that right there. Okay. Next we have a Game Boy Advance game. This is Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. Now, as you can see, it's about half the size of a Game Boy or Game Boy Color game. Let's put that there. And here we have a DS game. As you can see, they're even smaller and very thin. They're more like cards than anything. This is Legacy of Ys 1 and 2. And as you can see, they're about half the size of a Game Boy Advance game, and therefore about a quarter of the size of a Game Boy or Game Boy Color game. We'll put that right there. Okay, now I'll show the home consoles. Now here is an NES cartridge. This is Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. And as you can see, it's fucking huge. Now here's a Super Nintendo game. This is Super Castlevania 4. You can see the design there, and you can see that they're a little bit wider and a lot smaller than the NES to Super NES. And here I have a second design of Super NES, and you can see the difference right here. This is pretty flat, which is that like indentation. Well, this has a full indentation there. I think they were made to fit into the Super NES better. This is Street Fighter 2 Turbo. We'll just put that right there. And here's a Nintendo 64 game. They're even smaller than the Super NES games, and you can see they have the rounded tops. They seem to be a little thicker, though. So we'll put that there. Let's just pan out a bit so you get everything in frame. This is, wrong one. This is a GameCube disc. The game is Bloody Roar Primal Fury. As you can see, it's pretty much like a DVD, except about half the size. So I'll just put that right there. And lastly, we have a Wii disc, which are actually the same exact kind of discs as the GameCube. They're just larger. This is Wario Land Shake It. And as you can see, they're almost identical to DVDs, except they're not actually DVDs. So there you have it. All of the Nintendo media throughout the years. The evolution of Nintendo media put into one video for your enjoyment. Maybe sometime down the line. And there's a quarter there. That's not part of it. Maybe sometime down the road I'll do one for the controllers just to show them all together. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the feature. Next week we're going to start the new documentary-style feature, which is going to be related to video game reviews, so we'll see you then.